In today's episode, I'm comparing CompTIA certifications to Cisco certifications. I'm looking at who these certifications are for, how they're recognized in the industry, what these certifications cost. Also, we're going to be looking at some job opportunities they offer, and also some practical skills versus theory for each one of these certifications. So stay tuned. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and that notification bell. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's for a career change or you're just interested. I think you come to the right place. So no matter if you're trying to break into the IT industry or you're already a seasoned veteran, at some point in your career, you probably encountered these two certification powerhouses, CompTIA and Cisco. Now, when you encounter these certification powerhouses, you may have decided one way or the other. I know some people that's CompTIA folks. I know some people that's Cisco folks. Or you may have got the best of both worlds and went ahead and decided to get a certification or two from each one of these vendors. Now, one of the most asked questions I can think of is, should I get a Network Plus or Cisco CCNA certification? So one of these is from CompTIA, the other is from Cisco. And there are use cases for each one of these certifications and who should get them and when you would want to get them. So one of the first things we're going to look at that pertains to these two certifications is the audience that these two certifications target. So as we look into the target audience, one of the first things that come to mind is the skill level of who is trying to get this certification. So CompTIA certification is usually geared towards those at the beginner level of their career. With most of their certifications, especially the A+, Net Plus, even maybe the Security Plus, even though I know some intermediate professionals or veterans who have gone after that Security Plus, just because that Security Plus is a different beast all in itself. But then when you look at a lot of Cisco certifications, you're looking at the skill levels also. So a lot of times, even though the CCNA is usually the first certification a lot of people get, that certification requires a higher level skill level or a higher level learning capability where it's not really considered an entry-level cert. It's more along the line of an associate or an intermediate level. So somewhere in the middle. You're not a beginner, but you're not a seasoned veteran either, unless this is totally new to you going down the networking path. So you look at the skill levels. So like I said, usually for someone completely new, a lot of times they may get steered towards a CompTIA certification just to get their feet wet, get the ground up under them. Then they may start going into a higher certification like a Cisco or something that's more intermediate level or associate level. Now, just because the Cisco is more associate level, intermediate level, I've still seen plenty of people who are brand new go out and get that certification. It's just that that certification may take longer for them to prepare for than maybe a CompTIA A+ or a CompTIA Net Plus, something along those lines. So those two certifications is one of the first things, like I said, is usually recommended to a lot of folks. But then you also want to consider that skill level. And then after we look at the skill level, then you want to look at what type of job roles may this certification kind of steer you towards. So CompTIA, like I said, is more general. So by CompTIA, a lot of times they're vendor neutral. So by being vendor neutral, they're not going to teach you on one particular vendor. So it's not going to be like how with Cisco, they're more Cisco products where if you're taking a Cisco class, you're learning how to configure Cisco routers and switches, Cisco firewalls, or whatever technology you're trying to learn. With CompTIA, you look at the Network Plus, it goes over some of those same networking understanding and the basics of networking. So it's good for learning those networking foundations. And then if you're still hungry and you need more substance or you need more information, then you may end up going down that CCNA route. So the CompTIA roles, a lot of times they're going to be more general roles. Like let's say if I wanted to go into desktop, a lot of times desktop, they may require A+, something that lets you learn about that general computer. Or let's say I want to go in security. A lot of times that Security Plus, like I say, it's a monster for those trying to get into security. It's probably one of the top security certs out there. So if I want to get in security, I may go after that Security Plus. And then when I start getting more into specialization, so let's say I get into security, then I say, okay, I want to do network security, or let's say I want to do network engineer. So then I would start looking at more specialized certifications. That's where those Cisco certifications may come into play, especially if I'm going towards, or I'm already at a company that's a Cisco house, meaning that they're utilizing a lot of Cisco equipment. So I would go down this Cisco path and kind of start honing in my specialization where, okay, I want to specialize in networking. And then from network, I may say, okay, I want to specialize just with data center and networking. So the CompTIA roles, like I say, a lot of those roles are more general roles, your desktop support, your IT support, your help desk roles, a lot of those more general roles. And then usually when you get to the Cisco, you're looking to specialize in something or go down a path where you find your niche. So not saying that someone with a Cisco, especially if you get that Cisco CCNA, as I always say, especially if you're trying to break into the industry, there's nothing wrong with someone with a CCNA applying for lower roles just to get their foot in the door and then try to move up to that networking position. So there's nothing wrong with that either. But just in general, most of the CompTIA search, like I said, is going to lean you towards those general roles. And then with Cisco, they go more down the specialization path. So after discussing some of the job roles and what certification leads you down to what type of job roles, then it's going to boil down to your learning preference. So a lot of times with CompTIA, their certification is going to be more theory based. So it's going to be more information based, more you learning about these protocols, you're remembering that information. Like I said, it's going to be more theory. And then, like I said, when you start specializing, that Cisco is going to be more hands-on. So a lot of times, if you're taking any kind of Cisco classes, any kind of networking classes, any kind of Cisco security courses or anything like that, you know, they're known for that hands-on. So the CompTIA, more theory, you learning the information, which is good to build on that foundation, because someone with that CompTIA could then move into another certification like the Cisco in this example. But that Cisco is usually going to be more hands-on. So a lot of times, like I said, they're known for having the labs. You're going to end up using Packet Tracer or something like that, where you're going in, you're configuring devices, you're getting that hands-on experience. Then most people end up getting their own equipment, where you may go to eBay, find some old routers and switches, set up your home lab. So it's going to be more hands-on based than theory. Now, with Cisco, there also is some theory and a whole bunch of information that you would need to learn and remember and things like that. But it is going to have a little bit more hands-on than most of the CompTIA certifications. And then the next thing we want to look at is some of the career paths for someone who may obtain each of these certifications. So like I said, you got a lot of entry-level opportunities for each one of these certifications. Both of these certifications, I think, is capable of getting someone in the door. You know, so if you come out of, especially if you come out with a Network Plus, and then you may go on into a Cisco CCNA, something like that, you know, it's very possible to get inside the door. And then especially if you're going the security route, then that Security Plus, like I said, it's a government-backed certification. So that's always held at a high standard. So both of these certs, I think, is capable of getting you inside the IT industry. And then a lot of times with these certs, they also can be a stepping stone. So the CompTIA Network Plus could be a stepping stone towards the CCNA. So each of these certifications, like I said, they have their use cases and they have their spots where someone should get one and someone maybe not should get one. So like I said, most of the time, I never seen any point in time of someone getting a certification and they get frowned upon for getting that certification, because as long as you're learning, that's the thing in technology, always be learning. So even though I might not say it right, always be learning. So like I said, with CompTIA, it could be more of a stepping stone if you go into a higher level certification. But like I said, each one of them have their use cases. But both of these certs is capable of getting you inside the door at an entry-level job. Sorry to interrupt this video. According to my YouTube analytics, 84% of my viewers are not subscribed. If I provided any value to you in any one of my episodes and you're not subscribed, please consider doing so, as this does help out the channel. And also, if you're listening to this podcast in your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review or a comment and share this episode with a friend. Now back to the episode. So the next thing we want to look at when it comes to these certifications is the renewal process and continuing education. So most certifications, after you get them, they don't last forever unless you got lucky enough to get one of the CompTIA certifications way back a couple years ago to where you got grandfathered in where you don't have to renew those certifications. If you did, my hat goes off to you because every certification I've had, I got to renew them. So one of the first things, like I said, you always got to renew these certifications. With the Cisco, most of these certifications, like I said, they last about 3 years. Then after that, you need to either renew it or move on to a higher level certification. So for me, I'm CCNA certified. So when my certification expires in 2025, I got to make a decision. I either got to recertify that same Cisco CCNA or move up to a higher certification. So for me, it's definitely going to be trying to move up to a higher certification. I'm already in the studying process. If you had a chance, I dropped a study with me video. So check that out of me studying the CCNP. So you can either recertify or move up to another certification. So then when it comes to renewing the CompTIA certifications, most of the certifications, and the one I really looked at was the Security Plus, most of the certifications expire after 3 years also, but they do have a CEU program where if you get up to 50 CEU credits before your certification expires, you can upload those CEUs to renew your certification. So, and also Cisco has something similar too, where you can get CEU credits to renew your certification. A lot of vendors have started to implement these type of programs, but sometimes, depending on the cost of you getting those CEU credits, it may end up being the cheaper route just going ahead, recertifying or moving up to the next level up certification. And then we look at the cost of these certifications. So CompTIA, like I said, is not cheap at all. Most of CompTIA certs usually range from, the cert vouchers usually range from around $300 to about $450, $470, depending on the certification. And then usually with Cisco certifications, especially the CCNA, it roughly hovers around anywhere from $320 to $350, somewhere around that range. It kind of fluctuates a little bit. Doesn't change much though. But then, like I said, with each one of these certifications, you may be able to find some kind of vouchers or some kind of discount if you look around. You don't see them too often. So, but if you look at it, that $300 or $400 is a good investment if you take the time and study for it and end up getting a job or getting a whole new career from studying for one of these certifications. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy and nothing is guaranteed. So you can get any certification out here and it's really not guaranteed that you're going to land a job. Just like you can go to school for anything and it's really not guaranteed you're going to get a job for what you're going to school for. So don't get me wrong there. Everything is going to be an investment. You're investing in yourself. But the way I see it, this $300-$400 is way better than me going to a Harvard or something like that, spending a whole bunch of money and not getting in. So like I said, to each his own, but to me, it's a pretty good investment. Like I said, $300 to $400. Of course, if you spend that money and you fail the exam, a lot of times you're just going to have to pay that money over again. Sometimes with some vendors, they do have where you can buy the option to buy 2 takes to take the exam at a cheaper price, but you have to do that before you take the first exam. So it all just depends. But like I said, this $300-$400 is a pretty good investment for these certifications. So when it comes to these certifications and obtaining these certifications, like I said, a lot of times I think these certifications usually make a positive mark on anyone's career. So especially, like I said, the CCNA is the certification that, if you think about it, it's the certification, the whole reason I'm here in front of you now. So if I wouldn't have went down that networking route, if I wouldn't have ended up getting the CCNA, then I ended up getting a job in it for about 10 years, working at a hospital facility, doing different positions, also doing networking positions. If it wasn't for all that, I wouldn't be right here in front of you now. So you think about it, it's impacted my career a whole lot. I know plenty of people who just got out the military, decided to start looking in IT, went and got their Security Plus. Like I said, that Security Plus is a government recognized certification. So they went and got that Security Plus. Next thing I know, they landed a high paying job on base or a military type job doing security. So like I said, these certifications, like I said, even though they do cost, if you look at it, it is a pretty hefty price. About the price of some, if you're one of those people that wear designer clothing and things like that, it's going to be probably on the price of your designer clothing. well, probably cheaper than your designer clothing, because these guys now, like I said, you wearing some outrageous stuff. So like I said, it's a good investment, but then you're also going to have some challenges that you may face when you're obtaining the certification. So one thing is going to be trying to balance studying along with your regular day activities and working and things like that. So if you're working a full-time job and you're trying to study for one of these certifications, you could have some issues with your time management. So one of the things you want to do is try to write out a schedule or write out your daily schedule or your weekly schedule so you can see where you have holes available at. And then where you have holes available at, you just plan on studying around that time. Now, don't get me wrong, it's easier said than done. I'm still working on that myself. I try to study at least a couple of hours a week, but sometimes life happens. You're not able to do it. So, but you do want to make a decent thrust at it of trying to get this certification if there's something that you want to do. But you will have some challenges. Like I said, nothing comes easy. Nothing good comes easy. So you will have some challenges with trying to balance life, especially if you got a large family that you're supporting. So trying to do that, if you got kids, you're going to need to spend time with your kids, spend time with your lady. You got a lot of stuff that you're trying to juggle as well as reach your goals. So it's one of the things where you have to play that balance. You have to start playing that balancing act. But one thing that will help is writing out your weekly schedule so you can see it. And then it makes it easier to see the spots where you have time that you didn't know you had time or you didn't realize you had time. Because like I said, all it takes is about an hour a day. For me, when I was studying the CCNA, the last time I had to get it, roughly, I just went ahead and guaranteed I did an hour a day. So I did an hour a day during the week. One day might have been reading. Next day might have been notes. Next day might have been labs. Next day might have been just re-questioning myself. So I did about an hour a day. Then on the weekends, I had a little bit more time. So the weekend, I might get in 2 or 3 hours. I wasn't the one that, I know I see some guys pulling 8, 9, 10 hours. My hat goes off to you. I haven't reached that point yet. But on the weekend, I would do a couple more hours. Sometime I might have hit 3 or 4 hours, something like that. But if you think about it, those small increments is going to add up. So as you're going through that stuff, you're not really putting a whole bunch of time towards it because you're dedicating an hour a day, hour a day, hour a day. You think about it, in 7 days, you done did 7 hours. So those hours add up, and that's going to help you to reach your goal. So like I said, if that's something that you have on your mind, my advice is to go ahead and get to it. Write out your schedule so you can see where you have time at. Start plugging at it. All you need is about an hour a day. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Hopefully you found some value in this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can follow me at Debt Free in IT. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at debtfreeinit@gmail.com, or you can visit the website debtfreeinitwithmike.com. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.